Hello, everyone. How is everyone? Okay, so I shall keep an eye out and just see who else pops in. Yes, good morning. Bright and early. What time is it there with you? Ridiculous o'clock.
3 p.m. over here.
Oh, 5 a.m. and 5 a.m. All right. Oh, well. Well done, you. Not so bad. All right. If you go all right at getting up early in the morning, and then that's something that we need to know as well when we start loving ourselves, what suits us and what doesn't suit us, because sometimes we're doing things that absolutely don't suit us down to our soul, down to our boots. Let's put it that way. Quick recap from what we talked about yesterday. So yesterday we were very much talking about how your frequency can alter how you manifest something. So the frequency of being in love is one frequency. And the highest frequency that I've been able to sort of get myself into is falling in love with myself. So the love that we normally give to someone else, if you can imagine loving yourself to that degree, it massively changes the frequency of what you're up to. So that's why I'm saying this is the feeling of freedom. So when I stepped into that energy and I can hold it for longer and longer and longer now, um, nothing bothered me. I was like, oh, I don't, no, that doesn't bother me. Nothing influences me. What you say doesn't matter because I love myself enough. So that's one of the things that we are talking about, as well as the big download epiphany that I had today, which I can't wait to share with you. So that's what we're all about here. And I wrote a note in the chat to do with the group as well. Just like I don't know why I bother planning things because always when I'm doing an event or about to go live and do something, I'm asking, okay, what needs to be put in, what needs to be taken out, and they are just my dragons are my spirit guides, and they're just kind of like, no, what we talked about today, this is what we're doing. I'm like, okay, all right. So that's a bit like when I'm channeling. It's just like the most up-to-date information that you can get is what we are talking about. The challenge for most of us is we can get a glimpse of, or we can raise ourselves into a sort of a pretty good frequency, but then being able to hold it when let's just say all shit hits the fan or life gets in the way or you know just rubbish turns up, we get in back into survival mode. We go from being lovely lovely lovely, unicorns and horses and daisies and fairies, and then we go kind of like, oh my god, the car's broken down, I can't pay this bill, children this, partner that, parents that. There's just so much that goes on. So what I'm finding easier and easier and easier, and with my clients as well, the more we do this, the more we work on our energy, the more we invite soul to come all the way through. So maybe 10% and then 20% more, and then 30%, 40%, 50%. And then you kind of are tipping the balance. So the soul's coming through more and more and more, and she's giving you guidance. And then what we talked about yesterday, the more we start to appreciate that guidance, expect that guidance, it's so much easier for then the soul to start trusting you and giving you guidance. So you might think that, oh God, I know I've got to trust my soul. Hang on a second, it's a two-way relationship. And you've not been speaking to her for ages. You're like, you've got her locked under the stairs like Harry Potter. And she needs to be able to trust you as well. And she's going, well, if you don't listen to me and if you don't take any of the advice that I'm giving you, then why am I going to, do that? But the more you listen, the more you take advantage of the information that you're given, the more she's like, yes, I can actually take part in this and I can actually let you have the information that is really, really handy for you. Right, still letting people in. That's awesome. So, what the dragons showed me or screamed at me one day is when I was getting really upset with a particular situation. And one of the things they often say to me is, Fiona, that is such a human issue. If you would just remember who you and what you are, you wouldn't get your knickers in a twist so many times. But what they showed me also was you wouldn't get so snarled up with your knickers in a twist or your panties in a wad or whatever your expression is if you just didn't care. If you loved yourself enough, you just wouldn't care. You wouldn't be bothered. It wouldn't affect you so much. You kind of go, no, that's not energy that I really need to get drawn into. It's and what I tend to do, and I teach all my clients to be able to do this as well. So I'm teaching them not that I'm channeling for them, that they actually get to sort of remember who they are and what they are, what they're capable of, and how they can actually put themselves through this as well. And they're able to say to themselves, hang on a second, what am I feeling here? Is that my energy? And depending what your yes and your no is, they can kind of go, oh, that's not my energy. So why am I getting my knickers in a twist? If that's not my energy, I don't need to feel it. So you get less and less and less affected and influenced by others. What that means is you are able to hold your energy far better. You're able to sustain your energy far better, which means that you're radiating out. You're keeping your heart open better and better and better. So one of the things we were talking about yesterday, I'm just doing a slight recap, was the early stage of heartbreak for a human. So you came in gloriously as a star being, just going, yes, I'm going to have such an amazing life. This is the planet where I can play and I can create things and I can do things. And this is what I'm here for. I'm here to have joy and fun. And then you landed in the family that you'd chosen. And I didn't really go quite quite as you planned, and you had to overcome so many different things that really didn't work out very well for you, and so you just get snarled up in the education system, becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So we were talking about that yesterday, and how your heart sort of um, shuts down because you've given your trust away, obviously, to your parents or your guardians, and you kind of go, oh, that didn't work out very well. So, and then you just carry on shutting your heart down because nobody seems to really get you. And your heart becomes, a bit of angry, a bit frustrated, a bit moody, a bit irritable. And it just gets colder and colder and colder. And you start shutting your heart down. But this is where a lot of heartache and heartbreak and heart disease is affecting in the body. So, and we went through yesterday I think it was 12, wasn't it? The 12 signs that you have heart issues going on. In other words, that's why we're talking about how to fall back in love with yourself, how to invite your soul back into your life and into your business, because that's basically what we're talking about here as well. How can we, have better income, make better impact, and actually invite your soul and the spirit of your business into every single thing that you do? And that's what we're talking about. And then lastly, we also looked at a vision of you in 10 years' time. And you were speaking to that vision of you in 10 years' time, saying, how did I get here? What happened? That's a really good exercise to do every now and again, just to remind yourself um, of your big vision. And don't forget what we said yesterday as well, that Source is really willing to play with you. It wants to play with you. It doesn't want you to kind of go, God, I just need to pay the bills. I just need to survive. She's going, oh my God, that's so boring. Can you not give me something really exciting to do? Give me a big challenge. So you have to know that your soul, whenever I tune into somebody's soul, whenever I tune into the spirit of the business, they're playful, they're willing, they are loving, loving to help you, but you're not asking enough information. Whereas upon my dragons have a slightly different energy, slightly. They are extremely cheeky, extremely loving, but they are very, very, very direct. So anybody that works with me, there is no beating about the bush as far as the dragons are concerned. They do come in very straight talking, and sometimes they'll say things and you'll kind of go, oh, it's a bit harsh. But they said, no, they can take it. They have to have it like this, that they have to hear it like this. Otherwise, they won't get the message. And I remember arguing with them and saying, why is it taking me so long to do this? And why do you keep tripping me up with this, this, and this? All these what I call soul interventions. And they're like, because you wouldn't listen any other way, Fiona. You're so bullheaded. You wouldn't listen any other way. And I bet all of you are the same, because I attract people who are bullheaded, strong personalities, And they're kind of like, no, I don't think so. I think I can do it my way. Great. Okay, well, just see how that's going on for you. How's that working for you? Because at the end of the day, you're going to need some serious help at some point because your stubbornness and your bullheadedness is going to stand in the way, and you're just going to stay there with you, just doing the same thing, circling like an aeroplane, circling into land, just keep going and going and going. Nothing's going to change. So, what else do they have to say to me before I go into what the what happened for me today? Yeah, so basically we're always going on about if something triggers you, and it's a soul intervention. We were talking about that, weren't we? If something triggers you and it's a soul intervention, and you kind of go, oh my God, this is awful, I can't cope with it. You have to be able to be mature enough. And this is where the dragons often kind of go, Fiona, you've got to tell them that they've got to grow up. And I'm like, oh, that's such a, I don't want to say that. And they're like, no, really, you've got to tell them that they've got to grow up. And I'm like, okay. And I said, it's time to grow up. And they said, well, I am grown up. I'm 50 years old. I'm a grandmother. And I'm like, yeah, but you're kind of still moaning about your mum, aren't you? And they're like, yes. I said, so we need to deal with that, don't we? So that you can move on, so that you can grow up, so that you can live the most fantastic life that you've ever imagined. Go back to the 10-year thing that we looked at yesterday, you in 10 years' time. But you're never going to get there if we keep circling and telling the same stories over and over and over again. Now, I'm being told to sort of go straight into the epiphany that I had today because it really clears things up very, very, very well. Now, you've all heard you are the creator of your own reality. And you go, yes, Fiona, I know that. I know that. How? So then you go through all the linear steps and you learn all the hows and you learn how to manifest and you kind of go, still not working. So one of the things that they've shown me massively change that is your frequency and how you feel things. And you have to know that the world as it evolves is going to be very different to how it has been. I know that, Fiona. You've said that before. Everybody on the internet is saying exactly the same thing. I'm like, okay, but just wait with it. Wait for it. Wait for it. So, what they showed me today, I was having a conversation with a lady who does osteopathy on me. So, like, if I get a crick or a niggle or something going on, she helps the energy to sort of move out of the body because we all know that we get physical symptoms when the body is releasing the old crap. Okay, you all know that, right? So we all get growing symptoms. These are called, or ascension symptoms, whatever you want to call them. So I was there and she was like, oh, this is going on and that's going on and this is going on. And she said, I can change my story, Fiona, but how do I change his story? And how do I change his story? Because they just keep fighting and I'm pulled in the middle. And I said, oh, that's interesting. And all of a sudden, above me, as I was lying on the table, I just got this vision. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Let me see if I can explain that. And then I realized it was really primarily for this evening as well, so that I could relay that to you, what the image and what this world that's changing is really all about. So here we go. So what I saw was you as a population at one time thought the world was flat. We talked about that in Phileas Fogg times. I did a brief recording about it today. So at one time you believed as a population the world was flat and therefore it is. And we are going to be stubborn about this and no one's going to tell us that it's round. Oh, look, it's round. Oh, somebody's been able to prove that the world is round. I think Phileas Fogg went around the world in 180 days. Anyway. And I said, okay, I understand that. And they said, the change that's going on now is as big as this realization that the world is flat to the world is round. Because you've really got to be able to get it through your head. You've really got to understand that. I said, right. And then they showed me a house, because I was talking to this lady about the situation that was going on in her house, with 4 bubbles in it. I was like, right. And she said, like, that bubble is the girl that you're talking to. That bubble is a partner. That bubble is the one son. That bubble's the other son. Right. So the only person that needs to change is her and her thoughts and her feelings towards someone else. But her argument was, but they have to change. And I'm like, no, only you have to change. You just change your story about the other person, and somehow within your reality, poof, they change. They up level in your reality because you are the actress, the main character in your reality. They all have their own reality, and we've all got millions and millions and millions of choices of what those realities are, depending on what we focus on. So it's almost like when she changed her thoughts towards that person, it changed color and they just upgraded and they just started responding to how she was talking. And I was like, okay, that's a really, really good example. And then what I saw was there are millions of realities all happening at the same time. And I've never really been able to sort of explain this or get my head around it or put it out there. But just give me a hands up or something like that if this is beginning to make sense, if you're beginning to understand that you create your own reality on what you think and what you feel. Because sometimes you have to hear the story from so many different angles until you're going to go, oh, that picture makes sense, or that sentence makes sense, and it lands. When you approach all different, all seems to have changed, but because you haven't changed your free, yeah, okay. Sometimes it lands differently for different people. So this was a really good demonstration for me by my dragons to explain it to this lady to do with her household. And she's like, yeah, but what happened to the old version of this person? I'm like, don't worry about that. This is your reality. It's like they didn't die. It's just like they just upgraded, but within your reality. But then every single person on the planet is living their reality. So I could live a reality of like, oh God, I haven't got any money and this isn't working for me and all the rest of it. And that's my reality because that's the story that I'm telling. And then, nobody's coming. Or I could tell the story of, God, my clients, they keep sending me presents from all over the world. And I get gifts and I get dream catchers and I get dresses and I get candles. Thank you very much, Jennifer. And necklaces and I get, this and I get pieces of art. Thank you very much, Geraldine. So I created that reality for myself. There's another reality that I created and I realized, crumbs, I haven't sort of done a lot about my friends recently. I need to sort of create a posse of really good friends. So I started telling the story within my head. I've got some excellent friends. We go hiking together. We do the Santiago de Compostela together. We go out to dinner. We do karaoke. We play. We go to meet each other in each other's houses. On each other's birthdays, we take care of each other. We share information because we all live in France. So sometimes you miss things. You don't understand how that works or how did you get that to work. So and then I just created this beautiful group of friends from all different countries, all different nationalities and we just hook up every now and again, or she's good at that, and she's good at counts, and she's good at this, and she does sound baths, and she does, and you get to create the kind of reality that you want to experience. Does that make sense? So let me see if this makes a little bit more sense to you. Can you see this picture? It's pretty, isn't it? Isn't it pretty? So this would be me, all right? And each one of these things is something that I want to pull in or I want to change, a different story that I need to tell. So as I'm drawing these lines that go through here, I'm changing the story about my ex relationship. So I've done this before with the previous ex. I've had a few. So instead of kind of moaning and being miserable and all the rest of it, I just start saying, "Oh, he's a really good fellow. He's really generous. He's very kind. He's very helpful. We're everything's amicable. It's really a grown-up, separation because we just grew out of each other. Well, that's fine. No worries. And then you've got your house. Like, how do you want to sell your house? And then you've got your new house. How do you want to see that? So within my reality, I can create whatever I want. But can you see that when I'm talking about creating my own reality, say like if it's a story to do with my ex, I'm telling a really loving story. And I'm able to do that because I love myself more and more and more and more. So I'm able to just kind of go, it's just really not important. It just doesn't bother me anymore. So I can tell stories about my sons and I can tell everything else, but I'm shedding so, I'm loving them so much because I'm overflowing with the amount of love that I've got for myself because that has shifted within me. That is the frequency that's absolutely shifted. So, in order to break through, you need to be able to play a bigger game. So if you're thinking about your business and you're thinking, oh God, do I need some clients? And what are you saying? You're saying and you're putting it out there that you don't have any clients. The story better would be to say, I've got a steady stream of clients and they're just so much fun to work with. You see, you can change things around about how you describe things and then feel into, does that feel more comfortable for me rather than I need more clients or I need more money. And then you can actually create it and just kind of go, I've got oodles of money. My bank account's full. I've got rolls of money in my pocket. I remember I was doing that, playing that game at one time. And because I said, oh God, I love having rolls of cash with elastic band around it. I said, you don't often get people that give you rolls of cash. And one weekend, my ex came, father of my boys, he came and he gave me a roll of cash. And I put it in my left-hand pocket and I thought, that's what I've been imagining. A roll of cash going in my left pocket. How funny is that? I created that. So you can start playing games rather than just thinking about, oh my God, survival, my business, paying bills. You can just like, oh, let's have some fun with this. Because source, your spirit, your soul loves to have fun with you. So, um, and when I was saying earlier on, when I was telling stories and creating new stories about my ex or selling my house or, creating my new house, it's my internal story that creates the outer world. So depending what story I'm telling, and I might turn around and say, oh yeah, I'd love a house with a sea view and arches and scented roses in the garden, and I call my house Chelsea Flower Show, because I just think, oh, that would just be awesome. And for my house that I'm selling, I would say, well, it needs to be sold like this, but I would think it would be absolutely awesome if a beautiful family came in, moved into the house, and they loved it and they filled it with just fun and adventure and parties and songs and all the rest of it, so that my house is happy. There's a story in there about I went to Holland, I bought a van because they're half the price in Holland, and I thought, well, I'll bring it back to France and I'll make some money on it. Anyway, it just went tits up from the start. Things went wrong, and then I was, a few years later, we were trying to sell it. And I thought, oh, I just need to get rid of it. Just need to get rid of it. And I used to call the van Gandalf because he was grey, big grey Gandalf. And then we sold the van, but then it just started causing us more problems. And I was like, hang on a second, what haven't I done? I haven't sent this van off with love. I haven't sent this van off with my heart full of love that the van gets to have a great retirement. Somebody's going to look after it, do out the back of the van and put a bed in there and do all sorts of different things. And take him to concerts and go to the beach with him, go surfing with him, so that the van can really, really, really appreciate, because it's conscious, everything's conscious, that it can really appreciate the life that it's having. So then I'm using that to do with when I'm selling my house. And I know that when I sold both houses before in France, I was having a conversation with the houses. Oh, I can't wait for you to have a really lovely family move in, somebody to make you pretty and do nice things to you. So we have a consciousness. So are you conscious with your car? I talk to my car. My car's got a name. So we're being conscious with every single part of it. And as well, your business has a consciousness as well. Now, going back to this multiverse, We're all living in a multiverse. There are many, 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 many different options of what could occur for you. I can see some people putting things in the chat, so I'll just open it up so I can see that. Awesome. So yes, the multiverse, and you get to create your own universe, and you have got no idea how much magic is available for you when you ask. Now, looking at this world as a multiverse, it's not a flat thing. We're not living in one universe anymore when everybody's all in one universe. So like if one person changes, it kind of changes everybody else within that universe. No, we're living in our own world, in our own bubble, and you and you and you and you and you are all living in your own bubble as well, and you're all ascending and you're all doing your own thing depending on what you're thinking. Now, I've brought my boys up to believe in their soul. We've played games with their soul. And I used to say to them at the dinner table, what am I thinking? And then they'd have a turn and say, well, what am I thinking? And we'd go through some questions. And then sometimes I'd kind of say, oh, it's a giraffe. God, Mum, how did you do that? Because we have the ability to tune in and find out what somebody's feeling, what somebody's thinking, what somebody's doing. So I can tune into my son if he's in another country. And when they first started riding their bikes, I could tune into them and basically say, are they safe? Yes, they're safe. Okay, fine. Then I don't need to worry about them. If they lose their keys, their scooter keys, I was teaching my sons at the same time, okay, I used to be able to do it for you, but now I'm being told I can't do it for you. I've got to teach you how to do it. So you go and sit on the stairs and you ask your scooter keys, picture them in your mind, please show me where you are. And I'll do the same thing because if I'm doing it, I'm getting nothing. Even though he was in a mad, 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 mad rush, he had to go to work on a Saturday. And he went, oh, right, okay. And I said, listen, it'll be quicker if we both do it because I'm being told I can't do this for you. And this is exactly what happens with my clients. At a certain point, I'm like, I can't get anything for you. I can teach you how to do it so that you start to build up your faith and your trust and your relationship in yourself. So my son said, oh, I just keep getting it on the desk. It's on the desk, Mum, but I can't see. Like when you're panicking, you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't see anything. So I said, I got it was in your room and in your desk as well. So I said, come on, let's go and have a look. So I said, I got that it was kind of not in a desk or, and then my body starts sort of like tilting towards so that I was looking behind the computer and down to the right. And I'm thinking, that's interesting. But I said, oh, there's nothing there. Got down on my hands and knees and I said, and all I saw was grey. I said, so the scooter keys are showing me their surroundings are grey. So I got down behind the desk and lo and behold, there's socks down there and grey socks and all sorts of stuff. And the skirting board is grey and the floor is grey and a pair of grey socks. And behind that were his keys. So you are able to do this when you build up a really strong relationship with your soul. When you build up a relationship with your soul, they are able to guide you. I've lost my credit card. I couldn't tell you how many times. And one time I'd lost it. I went, oh my God, but I haven't used it for a couple of days. Oh my God, where did I go? Where did I go? And you start doing things in reverse order and you start saying, well, what was I wearing? What bag? It's like, oh my God, this is going to take way too long. I tell you what, I'll ask the credit card where it is because everything has consciousness. So I went into my space, connected in with my soul, and I said, credit card, image of my credit card in my face. Where are you? Please show me where you are. And it showed me it was in an envelope. It was on a desk and I could hear telephones ringing. And I said, no, please show me a wider view. I said, because I can't get anything with this. And I saw high ceilings and I saw strip lights and big industrial lights. I'm like, okay, a lot of noise. And then it sort of scanned down and it showed me the logo. And I went, ah, I know exactly where you are. You're at the Intermarché, which is a supermarket up the road. Rang the supermarket in my best French. And they said, yes, we've got your card here. Can you just confirm your name? And da 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 da. And then, yeah, I was like, there's just so many ways that you can use the power that's within you and within your spirit of your business so that you are moving forward. But this only comes when you build up a good relationship with yourself, trust your soul, and you build that love connection. And you fall in love with the fact that, you can do this. This is working out for you. You love yourself more than anything else. You're brilliant. And you start working on what we're going to do in a minute. We're going to start looking at your values, because most people I know who are spiritual entrepreneurs, they're really bloody good at what they do, but for some reason they don't value it because the heart is shut down. We keep hearing we're no good from a very, very early age. It might be, oh, you'll never be able to do that. Or what did my mum used to say to me? You'll never amount to anything. So we have these things in the back of our mind which still niggle us. And that's why we're in this aeroplane landing circle going round and round and round, and we never actually get to where we're going. So the only way that the dragons are showing me to really, really, really get through that is to understand that you do value yourself. It's like writing your own CV. It's like, fucking hell, I'm marvelous. Look at all this stuff I've done. Needless to say, the stuff that we did yesterday, remembering all the lives that you've had as a soul, and then you kind of go, God, I'm my soul, therefore I am incredible. So you start building up a very, very different energy and know-how about yourself. And then, of course, nobody's criticism or judgment or bad behavior, being rude, really bothers you, because you're like, face, not bothered. I'm just like, no, I know who and what I am. So let me just make sure that I've done everything that the dragon said I was going to share with you today. Yeah, remember who and what you are. Done that. A beautifully, deeply loved, souled part of the universe. Here at this time, the most exact time on the planet, exciting time on the planet for changes. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, didn't we? When I was saying about all the different lives we've had as a soul. And I'm like, so why am I here stuck as like average human? Because your job this time is to remember who you are and break through the ordinary, because you get to create yourself out of the ordinary, out of the mundane, out of the obligations of being so human and the survival and the victim mode. I was like, wow, okay. Okay. All right, yeah, I just wanted to finish this thing off the dragons. So I was telling you about reading into where your credit card was, reading into where your trees are, your keys are. And then if you've never heard me talk about this before, because I've talked about the games that I play with my boys, and these are the games that I play with my clients as well, to help them realize that they have these abilities too. So I used to play these games with my boys, and I remember Mika, when he was about 7, we were on a walk in the woods, and he goes, "Mummy, mummy, mummy, how old is that tree? It's huge." And I just said flippantly, I said, "Well, why don't you ask it?" So we carried on walking, Rio and I, and Mika just started like having conversation. I was like, "Oh, okay." I never taught him how to do that. Okay, fine. And then we walked to the car, and eventually he caught up. And on the way home, I said, "Did you get any answers from the tree?" And don't forget, he's only 7. And he said, "Yes, I did, Mummy." I said, "What did the tree say?" And he started speaking very, very, very slowly. We don't regard years. And this conversation took us all the drive, all the way home. Basically, I'll speed it up for you. We, the trees, don't regard time and years the same as you humans do. But in human years, I would be, I think it was 150 years old or something. So I remind my son of this often, and he's gone into being biology. He's gone into doing biology, and so he has the ability to talk tree. Long before we all watched Lord of the Rings and Tree People, so he was speaking tree at a very, very early age. My second, oh, and he also has Jake. He won't mind me saying this. He has Jake, who is the name of his soul. And every night he speaks to Jake before he goes to bed when he was little. And I could call in Jake if I was worried about him, if he was on his scooter or his bike, and I could connect in with him via that. Plant spirit communication. You need to look at the interview that I did with Lisbeth Russell last week, and she's talking about plant communication because she's flipping ace. She's ace at plant communication. When I did a reading for her, I saw into her world and it looked like Avatar. All these plants kind of lit up like fluorescent and they were kind of speaking and going, pick me, pick me, pick me. So when I regaled that back to her, she said, that is exactly what I see. So listen to the interview that I did with her last week. And I did an interview with, I don't know if Jennifer's still on, but I did an interview the week before, 2 weeks before with Jennifer about animal communication. So yeah, we really need to do, we need to know how to do that because that is, should be so normal to us. And the reason I'm telling you this is because in this multiverse planet, the way that the planet's going to work, the golden age, however you want to see it, what I was shown today, all the million different, multi parallel universes that we're living on, timelines. So like you change your relationship with this person, poof, they up level in your reality. Anyway, so that's why you need to be able to sort of expand the frequency that you're operating in so that you can see more ears, hear more eyes. So you can see and hear more of what's going on around you, the consciousness that's around you, and the signs that are coming up for you so that you start getting guidance. Because this is the way that we are going to operate. And I don't know whether you've heard it or not, if you've listened to any of those YouTube things that we've been getting, but because the frequency is expanding and we are being we're living in a much higher frequency, much faster frequency now. We will be seeing things that we don't normally see. We will be hearing things that we don't normally see. We will be having communication. And within about 5 years, it will be quite common to have alien sightings. And I think they are becoming more and more frequent now anyway. So having said that, my other son, by the way, he sees auras, he talks to animals, make himself invisible, and he does magic on his, anyway, all sorts of different things. But because there's nobody that's ever told him that he can't. And in my dragon cards, one of the messages that got channeled from the dragons is we are all witches and warlocks and druids and high priestesses, and we've all got the ability. And the reason that they did spells and things like that is because nobody told them that they couldn't. Nobody told them that it wasn't possible. The thing is, because we are being over-educated and we are over-analytic and overthinkers, and one of the other cards is like, you're just overthinking it. I can't get through. I can't get any messages to you because you're overthinking it. Like, shut up. What was I saying? Yeah, so basically the other message is you're overthinking it, but basically witches and warlocks and all those kind of people, they believed in magic. And my little son, he's 18, he believes in magic as well. He reads fantasy books, and therefore if he reads it, he kind of goes, oh, I'm going to try that. The same as I do. If I read something in a book that I'm reading, I keep getting told I'm fair. Yeah. Okay, did you hear me yesterday, Elaine, when I said, so I was talking with a friend of mine who I've worked with for years, all about this soul journey, because we're bringing the soul through. Did you hear that bit when I said, have I been a fairy? And she said, yes. And I went, holy shit, I've been a fairy. And she said, has Fiona been a dragon? And she got, yes. I went, oh my God. I said, has Zoe been a unicorn? And then she got, yes. She went, oh my God, I've been a unicorn. So we are thinking so out of date. Our thoughts are out of date. If you're watching the news and all that rubbish, that is so out of date. All our Scots, Celts, what are they called? The Celts. Scots, yes, we've got pagan ancestry. Anyway, but we all have, all of them, whether it's indigenous tribes or whatever. I'm just like, God, there's so much stuff out there. And I get so excited because this is why I started doing this little podcast that I'm doing about the paranormal and what have you seen and what have you experienced, because this is going to be our new normal. Our children, our children's children, that will be their normal life. There we are. Thank you for bringing me around to that point, because that's exactly where I was getting to. The multiverse, anything is possible. We create that. So let's go back. We used to think the world was flat, and then we discovered it was round. We used to think that we lived in a very material world, Madonna, and now we're realizing that it can all disappear, and we can create all sorts of different things. And I often used to talk to Elaine, like, because she's almost like an alien, and she can just see things going across, that she can just use your imagination and just see things going across the screen like that. Do you remember that? So we all have abilities to do things because of our soul and because of who we were before, and because there's no timeline, past, present, or future. It's all now, which is mind-blowing to the basic foundational human. So my job is to upgrade you, like I've upgraded my kids, to have this as your normal, so that you are so in love with life, you're in awe of everything, you're in awe and wonder, and you have a phenomenal relationship with yourself because you absolutely love yourself, and that's the energy that creates and manifests. You have an amazing relationship with your soul. You know who you are and what you're capable of, and you think, have I ever done that before? No, I have done that before. Well, it's capable then. Have I ever done that before? No. Well, that doesn't mean I can't. If she can do it, I can do it. That kind of thing. I know when I was learning to drive, and I think I failed my first test. I was like, what the hell? If that old biddy can drive, I can drive. So that's the attitude that you need to get into. Like, well, if she can have a multi-billion million dollar business, well, so do I. But you need to do the inner work. You need to have the imagination. You need to fall in love with yourself. Hopefully that's all making sense. Right, let's see if the dragon said anything else to me before they tell me off for missing out. Bits and bobs. One reality, multi-reality. We talked about that. Multiverse, all happening at the same time. Yeah, you have to be able to fathom. Yeah, like when you use your imagination, that's how you get to show your mind. And your mind is very reptile, it's very caveman-y. Even your language is Neanderthal. The dragons often say to me, you're not using your feelings, you're just using words. Whereas frequency and feelings is like an amazing language. What was I talking about? Yes, your mind has to be able to fathom something, otherwise it won't believe it. That's why we tell different stories. That's why we repeat those stories. We embellish those stories. We color those stories in. So, like, you might just have a sketch of a story, and one of my dragons would kind of say, "God, that's really vague, really vague." I mean, anything, nothing, can't get it. It's vague. It's pathetic. It's just a childish sketch. Like, so you need to color it in, and you need to put more texture in there, and you need to put scents and smells and flavor and delicious stuff in there, so that the dragons or the source can start to understand what it is that you want in your frequency. Yes, so that if your mind feels at ease with it, that's why. Thank you very much for reminding me. If your mind can fathom it, it starts to believe it, and you can only get the stuff that you believe. That's why it's tricky. So you can't go from earning £1,000 a month. We're going to bring it back to business again. You can't go from earning £1,000 a month to being a millionaire. I'll just be really happy and I'll be a millionaire. It doesn't work like that, because your mind cannot fathom it. Your mind has never worked out, oh shit, oh, I'm going to have to get an accountant. And like, I don't know what to do with the money. What am I going to spend it on? So one of the things that we work on when I'm working with you is like, okay, let's make a plan of like, what is it that you will be using the money for? Like, have you even thought about how much a million is, a million a month, a million a year? Like, what are you going to do with it? And it has to be fun and exciting. It's not just paying your bills. It's like, oh, right, okay. So, and then I'll do this and then I'll do that. So you have to always be in the creative mode. I know that certain areas of my life have broken down once I've created a fantastic life in France, even though I did outgrow my partner, but a fantastic life in France. And I now got everything. I got everything. I got the ducks in the backyard. I got my Weimaraner. I got 2 kids. I got a business I could run from home, view of the mountains, everything I wanted was there, but I didn't keep creating. I didn't keep embellishing my stories. So this is part of it. So your mind has to fathom where you're going next so that it can believe it, so that you can receive it. Does that make sense? Give me a yes. Does that make sense? Yay. All right. Okay. Let me just see if, gosh, come on, Dragons. You said so much. Oh, right. Okay. Yes. So now my spirit guides, the dragons, are insistent that I say this. In 6 months' time, it can take your mind to wrap around some of the thoughts. Yeah, need to connect with your adjective. Okay, just a minute. 6 months' time, we can wrap your mind around these concepts. You can get physical evidence. You can build really solid trust. You can connect with your soul. You can design your future and your new reality. And you can know how to embody your value and your worth. Yes, we are going to get there. We're going to do that in a second. And you can break through the mundane obligations of the human in the survival state. And the world is happening with you and is not happening to you. Just like, oh my God, this is happening for me. No, you are making the world work with you. So now what you do within these 6 months is you step into the full self-worth. You stepped into the phenomenal relationship with yourself, with your soul, and so that no one else can affect you and bother you. But that's just a tip of the iceberg, because what you do from then is you start seeing evidence of what you're putting and what your mind can fathom. And it's like a constant up leveling. It's a constant beautiful story that you're telling so that you actually start to create your new reality. Um, okay, that's true. So you don't accept what someone else says to you because that's their reality. You are always in charge of your own reality. So if I'm using this as an example, oh, no, dear, you dropped off. Come back in. If, for example, somebody says to you, you can't do that, you would always check in back in with yourself and kind of go, can I do that? And you would get your yes and your no. So you would always know. And I don't know whether you ever heard the story that I had about I bought intellectual property for practical magic, and so I went to a lawyer, paid for it, paid for the brand and the symbol that went on the dragon cards. It's going to go in my book. And then a month later, he was on holiday, and I got 2 more invoices in for $2,000, and one of them was for $3,000. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Now this is wrong. And I started to panic, and I couldn't get hold of him. And I was like, God, this feels really, there we go. It feels really disgusting. And I went, is this a spam? Yeah, somebody was spamming me. Do you see in this multiverse how important it is that you know what's true for you? And I'm sure we've all had stories like that. And sometimes, we fall for it, and our Facebook gets taken over, and it's just going to get more and more and more and more. But when it feels disgusting, when it feels really horrible, when you tune in, that's when you know, don't work with this person, don't do this, don't do that. That was just a little sideline, but very, very important. Any old hoot. So yeah, that's a 6-month course that the dragons really, really, really want to work with you on, because they say it's time that you stop. They say to me, you're dabbling, fiddling around and dabbling, and actually get very, very, very creative. Now, one of the things that they wanted me to work with you on today was your core values. Now, some of you maybe have done work on your values before. So these could be your personality values. And you think, all right, yeah, And I mean, I think mine worked out to be I have to have adventure in my life. And I've noticed with several partners along the way, adventure just disappears. We do the same thing or we do nothing. And it was like, what? So I have to have adventure. Now, those are simple values. These are different kind of values. So listen to this and then have a little think about how you want to make that work for you. Think about certain areas in your life. Maybe just think of two to start with, or maybe just think of one today, one particular area in your life. And because we're talking about business, we're talking about finances, let's think about your career. So think about the best opportunity that you would be offered in your career right now. And you can put it in the chat. What would be the dream situation? And don't just put 10 clients. Put, for example, I get a VIP client, 3 VIP clients to work with over a year, 10 grand each. Go big. All right. Maybe that's not big enough for you. Go then to think of something else. Elaine, you're scrunching up your face. Does that make sense? So think of something that really pushes the boat out and then write it in the chat. I want to see what you're doing so that I know which direction we're going to go and how I can guide you. 250K. Oh, well done, love. Well done. And how long for, Jasmina? A month? Oh, I could do that in a month. 250K. One person, I'd get them sorted. A year. Yeah, perfect. All right. Okay. Who else has got some things in there? Karen, Becky, what would be a beautiful opportunity for you that would make you kind of go, oh, that would be awesome? Nadia, what would you do? 3 speaking gigs by the end of the year at 25 plus expensive. Woo, nice one. Well done, Elaine. Let's think big. Right. Who else has got something else in there? Jessica, Nadia. I think Jennifer, you're still driving, so we won't ask you to stop. Don't type when you're driving. So, who else has got like a big dream position? I'm not getting a figure. No, don't run a don't you don't need to have a figure. Running retreats and even owning my own retreat center. So everything is set up and normal part of living. Oh yeah, nice one, Becky. Do you want to know what one of mine is? That I'm invited by beautiful 5-star retreats like Sixth Sense or something like that. They've got all over the world. That I'm invited to go and speak to their guests. And I'm also invited to teach their staff how to come from love. Imagine you're going to a prestigious retreat and the staff kind of aren't really up to scratch. Imagine that you could get the staff connected with their soul, self-love, really in love with themselves so that they ooze love. And I don't know whether any of you have heard of my dream, is that I run my own retreat. So Becky, not so far away from what you're saying there. And I've had this story for ages, but I can see it so clearly. I run this retreat and it's called the Love Hotel. And the boys go, Mum, you can't call it the Love Hotel. That sounds like a pornographic hotel. You can't ever call it the Love Hotel. And I said, no, but it's basically the frequency of love. It's love and above. So it's the love and above retreat. So I'm walking in and you've got beautiful parking outside and there's an island with palm trees in it. And then you park your car and you walk in and some people can just stop by the side of the road and they can come in for a coffee and they go, oh, this place feels different. I can't put my finger on it. I feel so happy. And they come again and again, and then they stay for lunch, and then they have a salad, and then like there's little chickens and bantam chickens around and all the rest of it. And there's a juice bar and there's a salad and they can't go in the garden because the garden is just for the hotel retreat and for the detox rooms that are upstairs. But you walk through an archway, you go into reception, and it's black marble. I don't know why, but it's black marble. But the host at the receptionist, you just feel like you're a VIP. Not because of the money, but just like you are so precious. And she's able, or he's able to give you that impression and just shower you with love. So the love is not in words or anything, but the love is just coming soul to soul, and you feel it. And then when you walk through reception, on the right, there is a yoga room, but it's also there's a stage where conferences can be held. And anyway, so like I said, it's a speaking gig. And then through the center of the reception, there's this channel with koi carp in there that goes all the way out to the garden at the back. There's a natural swimming pool. There's a forest with hammocks that sit in there, and it's a silent garden. So you walk through the garden, a little bit English country garden, walk through the woods to the river where you can watch the ducks and you can sit and you can do your meditations and all that kind of. But this is for the whole hotel guests, okay? So they've got the whole experience of like stepping into love. So upstairs you've got the rooms, you've got detox suites, and you've also got therapy suites as well for massage or sound therapy, those kind of things. So there you go. There's one of my dreams. So let's just go back to this, shall we? Karen, more than enough clients to retire and my paid job. All right, but we need to change that. Knowing what you do. I think would also maybe, Karen, let me know, Samsung SM, da, da, da. If it tickles your fancy to be invited to go and work at retreats and do what you're doing. We need it to be more than just paying bills and so that you can retire. It's just like where's the fun? Where's the joy? Where's the I mean, yeah, of course you can retire doing that, but anyway. And Jessica, more clients chiffre d'affaires. So I can hire someone to work with me and build. That's a start. Nice one. I can hire someone to work with me and build offices for us in the garden, training center on the ground floor, energy workshops. Okay, all right. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit more of an idea, I want to do stand-up paid as well. Yeah, you should do comedy, Elaine. Always said you should do comedy. Right. So basically, we're going to go into this now. So think of this particular outcome. Nadia, you didn't put anything down there, sweetheart. Think of this particular outcome and think of 5 things that you do and that you bring every time that are guaranteed because that's who you are when you show up in your genius, in your unique selling point, in your brilliance, how you expand the world and how you shift and transform someone else's reality. So just think about that for a moment before I pitch in. So maybe you just write some things down. Who are you when you turn up to this particular gig? Or who are you when you run the retreat? Who are you being? It's nothing to do with your work. It's nothing to do with how much you're paid. It's nothing to do with your clients. Who are you? How are you turning up? Who are you when you're your best self with your family, with your partner, with your clients, with your down the shops? Who are you always? Like I would always say, I'm kind of cheeky. I'm kind of fun. And I would kind of always see the funny side of something. So that's what I always bring. I always lift the energy. I always expand the energy. So you start to see what you are valuing in yourself, for yourself, that no one can take away from you because that's who you are. It's not what you do, It's who you are, it's who you're being. Andrea, you didn't write anything down in. Oh, Andrea, you did. Oh, well done. I didn't read it. I'm sorry, darling. Being invited to work with my teacher and other women around the world, we are each helping each other to be a best version of ourselves, best support for each other, and we can gather all and spend time together in this beautiful space, natural eating cherries. Okay. I would ask you to think a little bit bigger than that, like you are being invited to speak on a radio show, or I want to test you. I want to pull you slightly out of your comfort zone so that you know that you would still bring your best self to that. You wouldn't go, oh no, can't do that. You wouldn't become someone else. So who is your best self? Who would you turn up as? You bring all of you. You bring your best self. You're not even well planned. So I would kind of say, I'm not even that planned. I fly by the seat of my pants and I'm guided, I'm channeling at the time as we're speaking. I'm yeah, flying by the seat of my pants. So those are some of the things that I would bring. So then you need to think of other areas in your life. If you not just to do with your work, but to do with your relationships. Maybe it's a new relationship. Maybe it's someone that you really, really, really want to get to know. Who are you being? Who is your best self? Who are you bringing to this? And you start to see the value. These are the things that no one can take away from you. Nobody can take my experience away. Nobody can take my Reiki away. Nobody can take my years in all the different jobs I've had away. Nobody can take the magic that I do away. Nobody can take teaching my kids what I've taught my kids away. Nobody can take having the dragon say to me, write your book, write your book, write your book. So I'm listening. Nobody can take away from me the fact that I can read into your business. Nobody can take so like somebody can take your business, your finances, um, but then what are you left with? You're left with you. So who are you? Who are you in your best? And that is what I'm going to be bringing out with you in over 6 months' time, and could be even shorter than that, but longer than that, or whatever. But it's an ongoing process. You just go, oh, I'm really good at that. Because what were we talking about yesterday? We are talking about all the stuff yesterday that defeat you, all the stuff that you kind of go, well, you give yourself away and you don't charge the right amount and you give your love away to other people. This is you loving you, 100% being you. And when you see it, no one can take it away from you. You can say, nobody can take my skill as an artist away. Nobody can take my skill as a pianist away. I'm not a pianist, by the way. Nobody can take my skill as a dressmaker away. Nobody can take my skill as being able to hear voices or see images or channel away. Who are you being? So put some more comments down. Let's just find out what you think. Brag a bit. Come on, brag. Don't just sort of be shy. We need to be able to be putting ourselves out there and say, fucking hell, I'm awesome. Look at me. Because no one else is going to do it for you. And your soul wants you to kind of go, do you know how awesome you are? What I think this, and this of you. And you have to see that too. So do it now. I'm inviting you to brag. I am the dark Pollyanna, cheeky, bent and opinionated as fuck. Really. I leave people feeling seen and heard because you matter to me. Oh, nice one. You wrote that twice, so you did it to a direct message. So you obviously think you really, really are that. Well done, Elaine. Double trouble. Come on, guys. If I can't push you in this particular safe space where everybody's doing the same kind of thing, it just shows me, by the way, if you're finding it really, really hard, that's why we need to really be able to get you to own your truth, to own your value, because no one else is going to turn around to you and going to go, you're good at this, you're good at that, you're good at the other. I mean, because we need to be able to receive that as well, and we can only receive it if we love ourselves and we know it to be true. Well done. Showbiz is me in my truth. Playful, engaging, loving, kind, and compassionate. Okay, keep going, Karen. Jessica, Becky, let's have you. Come on. I'm going to be the school mistress here. I want you to brag. I want you to tell me how fucking awesome you are. I'm unapologetically self, super confident, owning my full expertise, joyful and flow, charismatic, radiating in my own energy. Marvelous. Jasmina, what is it that you do that no one else does for your clients to charge 250 grand? You did put a price on yourself, so come on, answer that. Elaine, what did you say? Podcast conference. Well done. All right. What's my question to Elaine? I want to say, who are you being at that Orlando, Florida podcast conference that no one else is being? You're talking to yourself because you're on mute. Write it down. Let's all have a look. I want you to brag. Who have we got here? Andrea. All right. So when you're running these gatherings and you're being invited to work with your teacher and other people around the world, does that mean you're traveling? So who are you being? What are you bringing in that no one else that you've seen brings in? Right, who else has got? No one else has died twice and come back and find it own their own experience of technical know-how. Okay, cool. Well done, Elaine. Just me. Okay, I am an apologist yourself. Oh, I read that one. Died twice and come back. Well, that's probably why you get all the technology because you died twice and you went and found it all. I was listening to somebody the other day, Erin Lyons, and she's a great channel. And I think it was LSD or something that kind of just opened up her brain. So obviously, life and death experiences do open us up to different realms. Not that I'm saying I've had that, but um, yeah, I wanted want more. Well, I heal traumas and shift shit into gold. You're an alchemist in a short amount of time with one client that meant 12 million offer that came to her after one of the biggest shifts while working with me. Okay, so own that then. Jasmina, how does it feel to say that's who I am? Jessica, I'm funny and wise. I know where to find information. My heart is full of love. I'm able to get people to say what isn't said. Yeah, exactly. So, Jessica, I'm imagining then that people tell you things that they don't normally tell other people. I certainly get that as well. So people often say to me, God, I haven't got anyone else I can tell this to. I've never ever told anybody this story. So, and I'm going to ask you the same question again. Like, how does it feel to own that? And this is not your only genius. Who else has answered? Oh, and I'm an international best-selling author. Well, congratulations. Fucking A. I am with my loving energy that says I'm here to be able to hold space for you all. All right, Andrea. So what you're saying is you allow yourself to hold the space, a bit like I think I remember talking to you ages ago about a red tent. So you're allowed to hold the space. You create a safe space so that people can open up and have a transformation. Own that. Jessica, yes, that's it. Can't remember saying yes, that's it too, but must be good. Becky, right. I'm multi-talented. I lean into people, the physical body through movement care. I offer cooking, creative art, and working with hands. I have fire nights, plant spirit journeys. Fire nights is in like a fire pit, like a sweat lodge or something. Plant spirit journeys and all fun while participants unfold and learn their own experience. Lots of practical sessions as well as the mindset work and understanding of what is happening with the human form while on the spiritual journey. Okay. Making women's spiritual journey okay and perfect for them. There's something else that you're not saying. Becky, there's another bit of genius that you've not tapped into. It's right there. Okay, offer ways of people to get to their highest timelines. Is that one? Okay, cool. Yeah, Becky, you're getting closer. I just keep getting told there's more. So sorry. I write it or share it with voice. Master alchemist of peaceful stories. So, Karen, when you're saying I'm a master alchemist of people's stories, meaning that you get them, you translate them, you feed them back to them, like you hear them on another level. Anyway, all of oh no, you dropped off then. So all of that then, can you start to see the beginning of a journey to, I think you might, really value yourself? Can you feel a difference in yourself having articulated that? I know, Maya. They slit my throat and I fed through a tube my side. I get pain, I get addiction, I get grief on the inside. I feel others' pain and offer whatever I can at the moment. I haven't. Oh, my. Uh-huh. See, comedian. Elaine, there's a pony in there somewhere. Right. Okay, Karen, I get that. Help people to see that their story is a powerful perspective other than the victim. Okay. Now that's slightly different, isn't it? Your value than what you say your business is, Karen. But okay, let's just leave that for a minute because we are over time and Maya wants to go out. Can you see and feel the shift beginning to happen that you can own your own value or you're discovering your own value, whereas before you maybe put yourself down and didn't really rate yourself and haven't really articulated it. And this is digging for gold. This is absolute gold when you can own this, walk it, embody it, and be it, for a better word. Has anybody got any questions about what we talked about today? Becky, I'm Master Healer. Bring the pure white light. I offer touch healing. My business is to make people aware of who I am through the work I do. Okay, I'm getting lost in it. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh, my word, Jennifer. Hello, darling. So we are just going to answer a few questions if you've got any. We'll be here until the past. So if anybody has anything that they want to ask away now. And what I was planning to do on Monday, a little bit earlier than this that we've been having, we can have a Q&A session and just see how people have shifted or changed or thought about things over the weekend. The 6 month freedom frequency is available only over the weekend for 2,222. There's also a payment links for that. And then on Monday, it's going to be going up to 3,333. So, and this is a 6 month journey, deep diving into your real absolute love for yourself, knowing exactly who you are, what your genius is, so that you can own it and you can start bragging about it, but you own it, you've got it, you absolutely start walking, talking, and loving yourself for it. So, that having been said, I'm here if you've got any questions. In dollars, darling Becky. In dollars. I just use dollars now because it's just so much easier. Rumba, rumba. So, and there is a link for that. I can put it here, but also it's in the group as well. I put the link in the group. US dollars, yes. So, has anybody got any questions about what we've covered today? And I believe I've done the dragons justice as to what they asked me to share with you. Yeah, that was all about the multiverse, the flat universe round to the multiverse. Does anyone have any questions about that, by the way? Just put your hands up and I shall put this back on. Shh. Question, question, any question? No. Jennifer, are you able to listen to it all the way through? Well done. Well done. Okay. Okay. Any comments about today then, rather than questions? What was the best bit that you heard that you kind of went, oh, right, never thought about that before? All of it. All of it. Because it's all energy, darling. Do you like my Mother's Day gift from my son? He bought it for me. It's pretty, isn't it? I'd like to say he had good taste, but I found it and he paid for it. Yes, the whole point is that we do go deeper. Then the dragons are often saying it's just too vague, it's just too shallow. We want to be able to get humanity, humans, the people who are out there talking to other people, lifted up and lit up. So you need to be able to really understand who you are so that you're not hiding anymore, so that you're brave enough to leap without the safety net. And I think, Nadia, you were saying you've got some pretty big things coming up that you're really being pushed and shoved to do. So we need to know that my soul's got my back. We need to start building the evidence, and they say, within 6 months, you're going to get pretty good evidence all the way through. You might be ringing me up going, why is this happening? Oh, I've just had this opportunity. But, within 6 months, you're going to get real solid evidence that you've got soul support and you will just be a different identity after the end of that because you'll know yourself on a completely different level. Jennifer, you've worked with me before. Nod and I'll pay you $1 million later. Good girl.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay, Jasmina, becoming more aware of who I truly am and my capabilities. Yeah, we have been keeping ourselves repressed for too long. And what the dragons are saying is like, with this whole multiverse thing that's just coming on, it's like we need to be ready. We need to be in place. We need to understand how this world and universe works because it's not going backwards. It's not gonna go back to being a flat planet or when we put something out there. I mean, people are going to feel more and more and more and more, and we're at the leading edge of that. So we need to be in these positions of power when we kind of go, I know what's going on here. And you need to be able to read and you need to be able to channel and you need to be able to understand when you walk in a room. Like we all know when we walk in a room and it feels crap, we kind of go, ooh, don't want to be here. But what we can do is we can kind of go, well, let's just eliminate the fact that it's a whole room and we can just like work out who is it in the room and why are you being triggered. I mean, this conscious journey that we're all on is huge, hey? It's like nothing can be swept under the carpet anymore, like our parents used to do. Oh, let's not look at emotions. Too difficult. All right. Look, I hope I've given you a giggle. I hope I've given you some more capacity to understand yourself. And the link is in the group for what I'm offering for the next 6 months with the work with the dragons to get you connected in with your soul well and truly, to get you connected in with your spirit guides, whatever they are. Could be fairies, they could be unicorns. More than likely, because you're working with me, they're going to be dragons as well. And that's just the way we hang. So if you've got any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace because I'm going to go. If not, I'm going to put a Short question and answer in the group on Monday. If anybody's available to come along and the times suit you, great. If not, please put the questions in. If anything comes up over the weekend, anything to do with the course, anything to do with me, anything to do with the business, anything to do with the dragons, ask. Do not sit there in silence and think, it sounds a bit silly. Nothing is silly. Nothing is not wanting to be expressed through you. And this is what the whole journey of the soul is. Like this, the soul is coming through. She's got a job to do and she wants to be expressed through you. You are a vessel, and the more the vessel is of love, the more your soul can come through. And the more you allow your soul in, the more loving you will become and the more radiant you will become. Sounds good, eh? Your health improves. Everything. As well as the more that you can hold of that, your finances improve as well. All right, I'm going to give you a big kiss. And
I hate to be rude, but you are fucking awesome. That's
fucking
all I have
awesome.
to say.
Yay! Let's not be bashful. Thanks. We don't want
Thank
people
you,
to be bashful.
Fiona.
We're just going to go, yes, awesome. Thank you very much. You're all awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
I all know a little bit about all of your businesses. And I just want you to really do it brilliantly for the rest of your life, because we've probably all got jobs that we want to do for the rest of our lives anyway, because we love it so much. And Nadia, I can't wait to really have a one-to-one conversation with you, because I know that Nadia's gone around the world and sort of sung the dragon lines down. So I want to speak to you a little bit more at some point about that. And I'm interested to find out what you're being guided towards now too.
Soon.
Thank you very much.
When you
Thanks,
get a
Fiona.
minute, call
Good
me.
evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye,
Bye.
darlings.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.